Hello guys, and welcome to today's video, and today we're going to be talking about some huge Call of Duty 2026 leaks. That's right, Call of Duty 2026. So we're not talking about next year's game or the Call of Duty that's going to be dropping this year after Black Ops 6, sort of Black Ops 6 2.0. We're going to be talking about the Call of Duty following that, which is going to be MW4, developed by Infinity Ward. Kind of makes sense, you know, typical Call of Duty cycle, but some huge details have dropped talking about the development of Modern Warfare 4 and Call of Duty 2026. And this is going to be some game-changing stuff. This is like, I mean, some big news that is going to massively change Call of Duty and probably start us off in the new era of Call of Duty. And yes, I'm going to classify it as a new era, especially with the information that we have received here. So I'm going to get into it. Let's get straight into it. Let's talk about these huge Call of Duty 2026 leak. And we'll start with, of course, sharing the tweet from the on Twitter. His name is @TheGhostOfHope. He has leaked many Call of Duties over the years and has always been correct. You know, some things change last minute, so obviously take this with a grain of salt. Some of these things are subject to change. This does happen in development, and there's still, of course, 2 years until the next Call of Duty releases. But, well, say 2 years, a year and a bit. But exclusive details for Modern Warfare 4 2026. There will be no old gen support. We will talk about that further. But yes, they are putting out there, or he is claiming that the next Call of Duty game, Modern Warfare 4 in 2026, will not feature Xbox One or PS4. I don't know how this is going to work with Xbox, because Xbox has loads of like sort of sub-series Xboxes, like a Xbox One S and an Xbox Series S. I am going to assume the Xbox Series line of consoles, which is Xbox Series S, Xbox Series X, will be okay, and PlayStation, it will be PlayStation 5. But if you have a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One, I'd worry a little bit. You might not be able to play Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 in 2026, because they are now, it looks like they're going to stop developing or making the game for those consoles, which is big, and we'll talk about them more, why they do that and why it kind of makes sense, but why that's also going to be a big change for Call of Duty. The next thing, traditional UI, like the older games, more traditional than BO6. So hopefully this means we're talking Black Ops 2 menus, Black Ops 1 menus. I want proper traditional menus. I don't need someone walking in the background or anything. I just want a nice, simple menu. No Hulu hub or Netflix sort of hub going on. Just a simple Call of Duty menu would be nice. So if that's the case, if that does happen, that would be great to see. I am more than happy for that to happen. I'm sure you guys would agree with that. Next up, the engine being overhauled to address MW2 problems like visual clutter, etc. We'll have to see with that, like when they've done these engine overhauls, which they did obviously back in MW 2019, where they did the sound, they did the graphics, everything. It looked incredible, and that's what I'm hoping with like the discontinued old gen support and that we can see Call of Duty finally elevate itself, because I feel like, honestly, and I don't know if you guys agree or disagree here, but graphic wise and like sound wise and stuff, I think we've gone so far backwards since MW 2019. I personally wasn't a big fan of MW 2019, but graphically, just the visuals, the audio, I think was so much better. You can tell the difference. Like these Call of Duties that have come out the last few years have kind of felt like a bit like clay and stuff. They just haven't felt as good as what MW 2019 was when it came to like visuals and stuff. But anyway, we'll talk about that more. It is being developed on dev kits for the next Xbox, so that does confirm there is a new Xbox coming, probably around the same time. Obviously, they're not going to develop it on that new dev kits for the Xbox if it wasn't going to launch on that console. So that's some news there too. And who knows, that might even mean some sort of bundle deal. Maybe there'll be some sort of deal where you get a Call of Duty themed Xbox. That'd be cool. Maybe I'd buy that if that happens. But also, this is a big one, and I want you guys to let me know down below what are your thoughts on this. No Call of Duty Warzone 3 if Verdansk fails to retain current returning players. So this release of Verdansk that's coming up for March 20th, because obviously, not March 20th, sorry, April 3rd, because it's been pushed back now, is a big release now. This could actually affect the future of Call of Duty Warzone. There might not be any more development for Call of Duty Warzone, and that's huge. Like, this is a big thing. Does that mean Call of Duty Warzone is actually dying? You guys let me know down below. What do you think about that? What would you say to that? Would that stop you from playing Call of Duty? Let me know down below, because I know there's a big community for obviously Call of Duty Warzone. You got your kind of your multiplayer player base, you got your zombies player base, you got your Call of Duty Warzone player base, and that's a big player base to sort of turn around and say, well, we're not doing Call of Duty Warzone anymore. That's a big you know, how would I put it, just conversation to be had there. I don't know why they'd go that way. I don't know if this is just a bit of, you know, makes it more interesting for an article. I don't know. That's a very big thing to suggest and say. But yeah, Verdansk could be more important to Call of Duty than what you think when it comes to Call of Duty Warzone. And then I see it in the comments this, and I wanted to discuss this as well, because there is a community out there for it, and they still go strong now. I've seen people live streaming DMZ from MW2, but there is talks about DMZ. So there was a comment here that says, I reckon they're going to shift their attention to DMZ. Hopefully they actually make it good this time, which Infinity Ward was, I'm pretty sure, proud of DMZ. They obviously stopped developing on it. They stopped updating it. And there's still a community on there now playing DMZ. So DMZ was very popular. I personally didn't get into it too much. I wish they'd done it a little bit better. But he responded to this comment saying, yeah, which lines up with my previous report about how DMZ's map and Ground War maps will be connected rather than Ground War maps being the Warzone maps and DMZ map being from Warzone. Warzone is pretty much in limbo at the moment. So at the moment, Warzone's in limbo based off of whether or not Verdansk is a success. So if you want Warzone to stay around, you better hope that Verdansk is going to be, you know, the be-all end-all and gets people playing Call of Duty Warzone and brings that numbers and player base back up, because that's what I'm guessing they're going with here. I think they're finally deciding whether or not they want to continue development of Call of Duty Warzone. But DMZ is there. DMZ is in development. These maps are being made, and yeah, I'd love to see it as long as they do a better version of it. I think MW2's was a good start, but they kind of left it a little bit dry in some areas. And hopefully, if their full focus was on it instead of just Warzone and multiplayer and all this and that, maybe we can get a better version of DMZ in MW4 in 2026. But very big news there. So let's start with the first one, the old gen support. This is a very controversial one. I want you guys to let me know down below what you think of this, because I know some of you watching this video are going to be on those Xbox Ones and PS4, and this has been a big topic, and I was thinking of making my own video on this as well, which I still might do in the future, about old consoles when it comes to Call of Duty, and are possibly holding Call of Duty back. Because at the moment, Call of Duty is having to develop, well, Activision is having to get its developers to develop Call of Duty for consoles that are now, what, 14 years old or something? They are really old. The technology on those are so far behind. But you have to develop for them because the amount of people who still have PlayStation 4s and Xbox One, there's still a big market of people on that. That's why they do it. That's why they develop for those consoles. But it does, of course, leave limitations. It means Call of Duty can't be as good as it wants to be, because you have to make the game playable. Well, you have to make it better year on year, but also make it playable for both PlayStation 4 and Xbox One consoles. But the technology just isn't there with those consoles to be able to upgrade Call of Duty and give it the better graphics, the better visuals, and just the things that it needs to compete with other like FPS shooters and stuff, and make them make Call of Duty look more visually pleasing. That, and maybe this is going to be the year which I'm going to kind of call the next era, sort of like when Call of Duty Ghosts happened, where we had the era of Xbox 360 had a version and Xbox One had a version, and then they kind of, you know, eventually led on to Xbox One and PlayStation 4 after that with Advanced Warfare. And like they did obviously get other companies to develop Advanced Warfare and Black Ops 3 for 360 and that, but that was an awful thing. If you've ever played those games on 360, just don't do it, right? They were horrible. So hopefully they don't do that with like future Call of Duty releases. But from this report, it sounds like that's not going to happen. It sounds like that's going to be it. MW4 or Modern Warfare 4 is going to be the be-all end-all when it comes to Call of Duty on Xbox One or PS4. And that means you will have to upgrade your console if you want to continue to play Call of Duty in the near future. So that's a big topic there. Very controversial one. I want you guys to let me know down below what your thoughts are on that. But next up, traditional UI. I mean, better menus. We just want better menus. We just want simple. It doesn't have to be over the top. Who cares about what the menu looks like? As long as it's simple and I can know where things are. That's what needs to happen. None of this weird Hulu Netflix stuff going on. The engine being overhauled. I like to hear the engine being overhauled, because to be honest, Infinity Ward are pretty good at like developing the engine. That it's just what they do with the engine. It's the design choices sometimes I don't agree with, like how slow they make things or how fast the time to kills are, stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with the visuals and that of what Infinity Ward have done with like engines and stuff, like sound, graphics, stuff like that. It's been great, to be honest. It's just what they choose to do and how they choose to make the game is what worries me. And then being developed on dev kits for the next Xbox. So again, I think we're going into that next era. And then obviously Xbox Series S, X, and PlayStation 5 are going to be like sort of lower era. And then we're going to get the, I don't know, the PlayStation 6 probably, etc. And then, yeah, the big one, no Warzone 3. If Verdansk fails, there will be no Call of Duty Warzone in the future. That's big, days. That's some big news to take. I don't know what to think of that one. I personally don't play it, so it won't bother me too much. But I know there's a big community out there that, of course, plays Call of Duty Warzone. But you guys let me know down below, what do you think? What do you think about these huge Call of Duty 2026 leaks? Are you excited? Does it get you excited at the prospect of that game? Do you think these are going to be good things for the game? Do you think these are going to be bad changes for the game? Let me know down below. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe notifications on. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Goodbye.